Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 23 of Pumping Iron, the review series for the classic muscle cars of Gran Turismo's current selection. And in this episode we're featuring what is pretty commonly, I would say, known to be the most popular muscle car, or at the very least one of the very top most popular muscle cars on Gran Turismo 6. It's the 1970 Chevy Nova SS. This is a car which you see all over the place. You see it circuit racing, you see them in drag lobbies, you see them in classic cruises, you see them in car shows, you see it all over the place. It's a highly versatile and hugely popular choice of muscle car. If I remember correctly, this car was not on Gran Turismo 5. I don't believe it was on GT5. I didn't play through Gran Turismo 5 that much, so I'm not that well versed in it. But it's a premium model, which is another reason why it's so popular, because as we've mentioned before in this series, not all that many muscle cars are actually premium on the game, which is a real shame, but that's just the way it is at the moment. This car, though, is a fully premium model, with some body modifications. You can add the interior gauges, etc. And that does add a certain charm to driving the car. What about in terms of performance though? Because being able to control your headlights and windscreen wipers doesn't really mean much in the long run. Well, it's powered by a 6.6 litre or 402 cubic inch supercharged V8, supercharged when fully tuned. It puts out just under 800 horsepower and over 800 pound-feet of torque, actually almost 820. And despite its looks, the Nova is actually not a particularly large car. It's only 6 feet wide, which sounds pretty big, but that's smaller than a Camaro in width, which is pretty surprising. It's also lighter than you'd think, at only 1,272 kilos, which is very impressive for a muscle car. The overall PP is 580, which I would say is just about perfect for this car. You don't really want many muscle cars going any higher than that, because, to be honest, at anything above, say, 550 or 575 at the most, they really start to peter off very, very quickly in terms of competitiveness. Above that level, there are very few muscle cars that can genuinely compete at above 575 pp. And the main reason for that is top-end performance. It's just not there with the majority of them. And unfortunately, that's the only real downside I would say is the case with this car. The top-end performance isn't that great. It's not bad by any means, but it's no way near as quick as, say, a Cobra, or the Tornado, or a Red Devil, or even the Cuda, the 446 pack. It's not as quick as the Charger, it's not as quick as the Tempest Pontiac, it's no way near as quick as the Firebird. There are so many vehicles that this car just cannot compete with in terms of top speed. In fact, in terms of top speed, funnily enough, almost all of the Chevy muscle cars tend to fall around the same kind of region, around 225 to 235. And that's the case with this car. It falls around that very similar region. Overall, in a straight line, it pretty much breaks even with the Chevelle, which is impressive from the point of view that it has less power and does more with it. But it kind of makes you think, what's the point of buying it if you could get a Chevelle instead? Obviously, the Chevelle is not a premium car, and it's not that much quicker than the Camaro either. And this is a 65 grand car. So is it really worth buying? Well, obviously a lot of people think so, because they drive it all the time. And I would say yes, it is worth it. Just don't buy it for top speed, because that's not what this car is good for. What this car is good for is competitive track racing, especially from anywhere between 475 and 525 pp. And particularly 500 pp. This car is a brilliant 500 pp race car. Or race car when tuned, that is. And the main recommendation I would give as far as tuning is a philosophy, really, that I have tried to apply to most of my cars. But it's certainly the case with muscle cars, and that is, muscle cars are already quick in a straight line. You don't need to really improve that. You don't need to make a car better at what it's already good at. You need to improve what it's not good at. And what it's already good at will take care of itself. And in the case of a muscle car, that really is the case. So don't give this car stupid power if you're trying to race it as a circuit racer. Focus on the handling, and the speed will take care of itself. And that really is the case at 500 pp. The handling potential on this car is fantastic. As long as you don't give it too much power and torque to deal with, say around the 300 to 400 horsepower region, it will handle beautifully. I've used this car to win many a 500 pp race around the Nürburgring Ring, of all places, and overall it's certainly worth it as a track car. It's hugely popular, it's a premium, and as long as you don't use it for top speed racing, it's a great choice of muscle car. So, that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.